Good morning, students. Let us continue with the chapter number 3, Money and Credit. Today we will do deposits with the banks, how a bank functions. When any person is working, a person gets at the end of the month salary. A person who gets salary at the end of the month, they have extra cash at the beginning of the month. That person who is having that extra cash at the beginning of the month, now what he will do with that money? If he or she keeps that money at home, they will not gain anything. That is why many people in the world, they keep that extra amount of deposits or the money with the banks. They open an account in their own name or others, their family members' names, and they deposit that money. Banks accept the deposits and also pay an amount as interest on the deposits. You might have seen even your parents, they go and deposit their extra amount of money, and that money is kept in the bank. Why do we deposit money in the bank? There are two reasons. Number one, because keeping money in the bank is safe. And the second one is, when we keep that money at home, if we keep, for example, maybe 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees, that will remain as it is. But if you keep this amount of money in the bank, that person will get interest rate upon that cash which is kept there as a deposit. In this way, people's money is safe with the banks and it earns an amount as interest. That is, the people will earn an interest rate. Now, at times it happens that the people may require some amount of money which they have deposited in the bank. That is called as withdrawal. So, what do people do? The day they want the money, they may go to the bank and withdraw the money as and when they require. Since the deposits in the bank accounts can be withdrawn on demand, these deposits are called as demand deposits. What are demand deposits? It's a 1-mark question, children. What are demand deposits? Workers who receive their salaries at the end of each month, they have extra cash at the beginning of the month. This extra cash is deposited with the bank by opening a bank account in their name. Since the deposits in the bank account can be withdrawn on demand, these deposits are called as demand deposits. When we demand, or we are taking out or we are withdrawing the cash which we require. So, that is why these deposits are called as demand deposits. And for example, current account. You can even ask your parents, because nowadays you cannot visit the bank due to COVID. You can ask your parents. There will be a current account deposit, which refer to those deposits that provide the depositor the liberty to withdraw money at any point of time. That is, the account holder of the demand deposit can demand these deposits at any point of time as per their discretion and convenience. Like if I'm having a current account in a bank, I can withdraw my money from my account anytime during the working hours of the bank. Anytime I can withdraw my money. Nowadays, we can even withdraw through the ATMs also. Earlier, the people, you had to go to the bank only to withdraw money. Now, we can even withdraw the money from our account through the ATM also. So that is why these deposits, especially the current deposits, these deposits are called as the demand deposits. Demand deposits offer another interesting facility. Not only that we can withdraw the money from our account, that is the demand deposits, we can also pay that money through a check also. Suppose we have to pay somebody a large amount of money. We generally don't pay in cash and we want to pay through the check. So, even through the check when we pay, that is a part of the demand deposits. It is this facility which lends it the essential characteristic of the money. That is, we studied in the beginning of chapter, money is the medium of exchange. So, when we are paying the check instead of cash through the check, the payer who has an account with the bank makes out a check for a specific amount. What is a check? One mark question, children. A check is a paper instructing the bank to pay a specific amount from the person's account to the person in whose name the check has been issued. Now, what is a check? Again, at home, you can ask your parents to show their checkbook to you. If you see the checkbook, and what is it? Like if I have to pay person B an amount of rupees 1 lakh through a check. So, what I will write on my check? On my check, I will write first of all the name of the person to whom I have to pay. Suppose if I have to pay a check, cash of rupees, the check of rupees 1 lakh to Salim. So I'll write the name Salim, which I'll show you just now how the check is written. After that, I'll fill the date, then I'll fill the amount, and then I will put my signature. And then I will give this check to that person. I can give that person this check directly also. So that person will take the check and deposit in his own account, in his own bank. What will happen then? The money from my account will get transferred to his account. So, from one bank to another bank, the money is getting transferred. So, that is also what we call it as the demand deposit, because here also the medium of exchange is money. Let us see now how a check is made. Example is shown here, that how you have to write a check. You can see this. The question is also given. A shoe manufacturer Salim has to make a payment to the leather supplier and writes a check for a specific amount. This means that the shoe manufacturer instructs his bank. First of all, shoe manufacturer is a Salim. He is paying money to a person known as Prem Kumar, who is a leather supplier. And the amount Salim is paying is 57,000 rupees. So, what is Salim doing? Salim is instructing his bank, Salim is instructing his bank to pay this amount to the leather supplier. The leather supplier takes this check. What will happen once the Salim has written this check and given to Prem? Prem will take this check to his account or to his bank and will deposit in his own account. The money is transferred from one bank account to another bank account. The transaction is complete without any payment of cash. So the leather supplier is putting this check into his bank account and the money is transferred from Salim's bank to Prem's bank. Once the once the transfer of this money is done, it takes 2 or 3 days. Once that is done, the transaction is complete, and that too without any payment of cash. As I said that if the payment has to be done in a large amount, say if we are paying just 1000 or 2000 rupees, we don't generally pay through the cash. We only pay through the cash, not through the check. But when we are paying a large amount, we pay through the check. Why is it, children, that we are paying it through the check? We can pay even 50,000 rupees cash also. Check, when you are paying through a check, it is a guarantee that, for example, in this case, Salim has paid to Prem. Suppose if Salim pays to Prem this amount of money, 57,000 rupees, what happens if Prem later on says that he has not received any payment? If the payment is done in cash, where is the guarantee? Where is the proof that Salim has paid to Prem? But when Salim pays it through the check becomes a proof that Salim has paid to Prem, because the bank itself is a proof here. The transaction which has taken place, that is a proof here. So when you pay through the check, it is always safe. That acts as a proof. That is why generally the large amounts are paid in the check. So let's see how the check is written. You can see the date over here. The check has been issued on this date. So the date is written. Then pay, in the pay column, that person's name to whom you are paying, that person's name is written, like Prem Kumar is written here. Then there are two methods to enter the amount. One is in the figures, which is in this column you can see over here, and one is in the words. One is in the number, you can see here, and one is in the words. So you can see here 50,000, 57,000. Now you can see one word here, only. Why is this only written, children? If suppose only 57,000 is written and that empty gap is there, a person can fill further also. 57,999. That can be filled. So to avoid any kind of this kind of malpractice, this word only is used once you write the amount. Then just below that amount, you have to, a person who is paying, the person has to sign. Rest of them all are written already there in the checkbook. Account number, bank, branch, everything is already written in the checkbook. Only this much has to be filled. So that is how a check is paid. Now what do you mean by account pay? You can see here there is this kind of account pay is written over there. Even if it is not written and these two lines are drawn, it means that it is account pay. Account pay means from one account to another account. The payment is done from one account to another account. That is the meaning of account payee. I hope this part you have followed. So what is this check? That is 1 mark question, children. What is the check and what is the meaning? Why do we transfer the money through the check? So when I talk about these, how to fill a check, we will do more exercises also in the later part when I'll do the online class. Let's do this again. What is the meaning of account payee? An account pay check is a highly secure type of check. If we do this, it means it is a secure type of check, as the amount can only be deposited in the account of the payee. That from my account, the payment will be done only in the account of that person, that is the Prem Kumar. If Salim is paying the check, then from that Salim's account, the money will be paid only to the Prem Kumar. So the payee cannot endorse this check to anyone else. So it's not the Prem Kumar, he cannot give this check to anyone else. To anyone else also he will give, the payment will be in his account only. So he cannot transfer in that way. P is the party to whom the final payment is made, in its name is written on the check. So that is your account pay. So it's a one kind of highly secure type of check. Even if you don't write account pay, the money will go into his own account only. But when you write this, it becomes more secure. That's the only reason why we write this account pay. I hope the check is clear, and we have one question also below this. Let's see that. Okay, after this we'll do that question. Now, thus we are summing up of this part. We say that demand deposits share the essential feature of money. The facility of checks against demand deposits makes it possible to directly settle payments without the use of cash. So we have seen that either we can pay in cash, that is how our demand deposits are useful, or also through the demand deposits we can pay the person through the check also. So without the payment of money or cash, the settlement is done. Since demand deposits are accepted widely as means of payment along with the currency, they constitute money in the modern economy. So the demand deposits constitute the modern economy's money. So it is also called as the money in modern forms, because in demand deposits either we can pay through the cash directly, or we can pay through the check also from our account to another's account. You must remember the role that the banks are playing over here. What role the bank is playing? The bank is here playing a very important role, because when you are paying a check, it is the bank which is transferring the money from one account to the another account. So that is how the banks, and we have further next part also to show that how actually the banks work. We have the questions here on this part. First question, Salim wants to withdraw rupees 20,000 in cash for making payments. How would he write a check to withdraw the money? Now this is very interesting, children. Suppose Salim wants to withdraw the money from his account. Maybe he doesn't want to use the ATM. So he wants to withdraw through the check. Now the question is that how will you write a check? Because he himself wants to withdraw for himself. He himself wants to withdraw for his own use the 20,000 rupees. How will he write that check, children? So you can write in your notebook or in your register, you can draw a column like this, a rectangular form like this, just like a check you will draw, and you will write the check. How will you write the check? In the rupees column, you will write 20,000 rupees, because he want to withdraw rupees 20,000. Then in the words also he will write 20,000 only. He will put the date he is going to withdraw, and now he is withdrawing for himself. So what he will write here? What he will write here? He will write self in the pay column, because he is withdrawing for himself. So he will write self. and then he will sign. So when he will deposit this check, he will go with this check to the bank, he will get the money. When he deposit the check, he will get the money. So that's how he can withdraw his money. Because sometimes we need, because nowadays 20,000 amount of money we can withdraw through ATM. But suppose we want to withdraw more money. In a single day, you cannot withdraw more than 20,000 rupees. So if you want to withdraw more money than 20,000, say you want to withdraw 50,000 rupees, then you can use the check. That is why check is very, very important part. Then we have one more question, question number 2. After the transaction between Salim and Prem, we have just seen that Salim has paid rupees 57,000 to Prem. After this transaction is completed, what will happen to the bank account? Let's see the options. Salim's Salim's balance in his bank account increases and Prem's balance increases. Second, Salim's balance in his bank account decreases and Prem's balance increases. Third, Salim's balance in his bank account increases and Prem's balance decreases. I think all of you might have got the answer. Answer is because Salim is paying to Prem. So Salim's balance in his bank account will decrease. 57,000 rupees have been taken out from Salim's bank. So that has decreased and that is deposited in Prem's balance. So Prem's balance increases. That's the answer. Then the last question, why demand deposits are considered as money? Just now I have made you to underline this part, why the demand deposits are considered as money, because demand deposits are known as can be withdrawn from the bank whenever it is required. First of all, demand deposits can be withdrawn from the bank whenever it is required. Second, they are widely accepted as a means of payment along with the currency. Thus, they are considered as the money. Answer is here also, which we have just seen. Demand deposits share the essential features of money. The facility of check against demand deposits makes it possible to directly settle payment without the use of cash. Demand deposits are accepted widely as a means of payment along with currency. They constitute money in the modern economy. That is why demand deposits are considered as the money. That's the answer there, children. That completes that part of the chapter about the check, about the demand deposits also. Now we come to the next part, that is loan activities of bank. How a bank acts as a mediator between the depositors and the borrowers. Just now we have done that if we have an extra amount of the money in the beginning of the month, we deposit that money in the bank so that we can save that money in the bank and we also get an interest rate. What does the bank does with that money? What do that bank do with that money? Do they keep that money just like that with them? How the bank functions here? That is what is here, and it is very interesting mechanism which we are going to discuss here, how the banks are going to function. Mechanism of banks. First of all, banks keep only a small proportion of their deposits as cash with themselves. Suppose if there are 100 depositors in the bank and everybody deposits as per their saving. Whatever is the total amount, say 1 crore rupees is there with the bank. What does the bank do with that? Out of this 1 crore, bank will keep 15% of these deposits with itself. Bank will keep out of this amount 1,001 crore rupees. Bank will keep 15% of the money with itself. Now, why it will keep 15% with itself? This is kept as provision to pay the depositors who might come to withdraw money from the bank on any given day. Suppose if I am saving the money in my bank, as we have already done demand deposits, I can go to the bank anytime to withdraw some amount of money from my account. In the same way, the other person can come to withdraw some amount of money from his account. So, to pay these depositors, because we are depositors, we are keeping the money in the bank. So, we have a right to take out our money whenever we want. So, to pay us, the banks keep 15% of the cash. But is it that because in one bank there are many thousands of people who are depositing money? So since on any particular day only some of its depositors come to withdraw, do you think that all the depositors will go on same day and will withdraw the whole money which they have deposited? It doesn't happen, children. If 1,000 people are there, maybe 100 people or 200 people may go to withdraw the money in a day, maybe even not that much. So the bank doesn't keep the whole money with itself. Bank will keep only 15% of the cash with itself, so that if any depositor comes to withdraw, they can withdraw the amount. Since on, as I am discussing, since on any one particular day only some of its many depositors come to withdraw the cash, so the bank is able to manage with this cash. So whatever 15% cash bank is having, they are able to pay to the depositors, those who want to withdraw their money. Now, rest of the 85%, what is done with this money? This amount of money, that is the major portion of the deposits, 85% of this money is used to extend loans. What does the bank do with 85% of the money? With the 85% of the money which the bank is having, bank will give it as a loan to the borrowers. There are many people who take loans from the banks for the various purposes. We have car loan, we have housing loan, we have business loans. So many loans are there. So, say if I am a depositor, I will deposit my money in the bank. From that money, 15% bank will keep itself and 85% bank will pay to you. Suppose you are a borrower, you want a loan for your house. So from that my money, 85% of my money is paid to you as a loan. Now what is the benefit to the bank by doing this? Banks use of these deposits to meet the loan requirements. In this way, bank mediates between those who have surplus funds, that is the depositors, and those who are in need of these funds. So bank is playing as a mediator. In between you and me, there is a bank. I am depositing the money in the bank and you are taking the loan from the bank. Bank will pay me because I am a depositor. Bank will pay me, say for example, 6% interest rate on my deposit. But when you are taking a loan from a bank, bank will charge say 18% of interest rate from you. Bank is paying me 6% interest rate and bank is charging 18% interest rate or 20% interest rate from you. So what is the bank's benefit here? The bank's benefit is that amount of money which it is getting, that profit which it is getting from giving the loans to you. By giving loan to you, bank is getting the benefit. So that 14% which bank is taking extra from you, that is the bank's profit. So the difference between, that is what is given. Banks charge a higher interest loan on loans than what they offer on deposits. The difference between what is charged from borrowers and what is paid to depositors, that is the main source of income of the bank. That is how the banks get the benefit, and that is how the banks functions. Children, we will continue further this topic in the next video, as there is a time limit for this. So we'll continue in the next part of the video, again the continuation part of how a bank works, children. So that's all for today. Have a good day, students.